Amendment Bill number 2. And again, this bill is another piece of legislation, or on a way becoming a legislation of this government's relentless push towards educational excellence. It certainly is a priority for this government, and there is a lot of work to be done. We spend $12 billion on behalf of the taxpayer to ensure that all children have access to excellence in education, and we recognise the importance of that being spent wisely. We do value early childhood education because we spend at least $1.3 billion on that. We have taken approximately $100 million out of the budget to prioritise increased participation, because we know that there are areas in New Zealand where as many or as much as 24% of children are not yet engaging in this very, very important foundation early child education. What I'd like to focus on from my point of view, the work that the bill really does address, we have heard from the other side that tertiary secondary educational programs are alive and thriving. I would actually say that there is a major issue, Mr. Speaker, in this area. We have failed miserably. We have focused on basically an academic pathway, and we've neglected the better part of 70% of hands-on learners in our schools. And I believe that this bill, the way it is structured, will empower that level of cooperation, and it gives a very clear message about what we expect that relationship to look like. The reason why it hasn't happened, Mr. Speaker, as far as I can see and observe, is there's an issue over where does the money go. And it is a real tragedy that when you look at a country that is considered a first world economy, that we don't have an abundance of money to be able to spend and prioritise in this particular area. We've got to spend it very carefully, because even though we spend $12 billion, Mr. Speaker, in this in the area of education, it is spread quite thinly. And whenever I've talked to tertiary providers and colleges, the college is very keen to see some of their children go across into high-quality tertiary education with hands-on skills that lead on to apprenticeships and high-quality trades. But it comes down to a question of where does the money go. And when we see the Manukau Institute of Technology, and I must mention at this time Stuart Middleton, a guy who has worked relentlessly on behalf of hands-on learners and certainly focuses his attention on how we can best do that, I think that he will be very satisfied with us. This government has really focused on the youth guarantee. It is built on the youth guarantee around 16 and 17-year-olds, because hands-on learners are fascinated with learning. They just have to be have that opportunity opened up to them, Mr. Speaker, where they can engage, get their hands onto things, design, build, and then understand why they must drill a hole in the right space where measurement and maths and where they have to be able to read and interpret plans and designs. So in this bill, Mr. Speaker, it takes us to another level. The government has set a goal of at least 5 of these trade academies to be started by 2011, and I would encourage everybody in the House here to really get behind this initiative, because really the biggest destructive aspect in education often, Mr. Speaker, is the politics. And if we could get rid of the politics and get the cooperation going, we would certainly be doing a lot better. I'd just like to touch for a moment on an issue that's spoken about in the Minority Report of Labour, where they talk about giving people privilege over one another, and it probably illustrates where we in the government differ from the opposition, because when you turn to the Education Act 1989, Mr. Speaker, and you look at section 11F, it says there how to select applicants who live outside the home zone, and part 1 subclause of that says the order of priority in which applicants who live outside a school zone are to be offered places in the school shall be as followed. So what the opposition were saying is that schools will manipulate their zones to exclude people and then they will manipulate it so they'll be able to get the people they want. Well, we don't on this side of the House feel that that will get abused. So from that point of view, Mr Speaker, that is a difference between the government and the oppositions on the other side. So, Mr Speaker, this is a very positive bill. It is relentlessly pushing forward to educational excellence, and I'm pleased the government has had the internal fortitude to really make sure that tertiary education takes centre stage. Thank you, Mr Speaker. I have pleasure in supporting this bill to the House.
Calvin.